I got one of the most trending laptop of 2023, the Acer Predator Helios Neo 16. Oof, that's quite a mouthful. It's a new gen laptop from Acer that offers latest 13th gen Intel CPUs and RTX 40 series GPU. This year, Acer has sort of divided its Predator series in two categories, the Helios 16, which also has Helios 18 with, you guessed it, 18-inch screen, and Helios Neo 16. The difference between Helios 16 and Neo 16 lies in these aspects. Design-wise, Neo 16 is similar to older Helios 300 model with minor changes. However, Helios 16 has a completely new design, which is my personal favorite. Helios 16 has a bigger and better screen with higher refresh rate, better colors, etc. as compared to Neo. Helios 16 has a better hardware range up to i9-HX CPU and up to 4080 GPU, while Neo is limited to i7 and 4060 GPU. Basically, Neo models are a bit budget-friendly Predator models, while Helios 16 are now more of a higher-end variant with extra features. There are many combinations to choose from in Neo 16 models like i5 13th Gen with RTX 4050, i7 13th Gen with RTX 4050, and i7 13th Gen with RTX 4060. I will cover performance and benchmarks of all these laptops for you in the performance section for you to compare all in one video. All other features of the laptops are same. I will just tell you all the features once and mention any difference in other variants. We will discuss the price of these variants and the link to buy them later in the video. In this video, the variant that I have on hand has Intel's Core i7-13700HX, which has 16 cores and 24 threads, out of which 8 are P cores and 8 are E cores. It has a clock speed range of 1.5 GHz to 5 GHz and a maximum TDP of 55 watts with Intel's UHD 770 as the integrated GPU. It has Nvidia's RTX 4050 as the DGPU, which has 6 GB of G DDR5 RAM and a maximum TDP of 140 watts. It comes with the special features like DLSS 3, super resolution, frame generation, and support for DirectX 12 Ultimate. This unit comes with 16 GB of DDR5 RAM with 8 GB plus 8 GB configuration clocked at 4800 MHz each and 1 TB of Gen 4 NVMe SSD. Now let's take a look at the build quality and design of this laptop. As said earlier, it has a similar look to the last year's Helios except for this blue sides and this gamely printed top lid. It has an all-plastic built with polycarbonate material. It comes in matte obsidian black color, which gives a subtle blue effect in light. The bezels of this laptop are quite thin overall. It has dimensions of 14.18 inches by 11.02 inches by 1.05 inches and has a weight of 2.6 kgs. It is definitely higher side to hold, but is easy to handle due to its rounded corners. It can easily be opened with one hand and the screen goes back to about 155 degrees. It has an average top lid flex, average keyboard flex, and the screen does not wobble much even when typing. It has sturdy hinge quality which feels easy to use. It has a full-sized keyboard with 4 zones of RGB lighting which can be controlled through the Predator Sense software only. The brightness, however, can be adjusted with function plus F11 and F12 keys. It has highlighted translucent WASD and arrow keys for that extra gamerly look. It has a good key travel and feels good to type on. It has a dedicated button to open the Predator Sense software and a dedicated key to change the performance modes. It does not have a separate power button and it lies on the top right of the keyboard. It has a good sized plastic trackpad which is fully clickable and has multi-gesture support. It feels smooth to use without any problems. However, I felt the trackpad sometimes came in contact with the palms while typing. It has 2 exhaust vents on the back side and 2 exhaust vents on each side. It has a big air intake vent on the downside and it also has a vent on top of the keyboard which helps in maintaining the thermals. It has 2 speakers of 2 watt each which has good sound and loudness. Here is how they sound. Now let's take a look at the screen of this laptop. It's a 16-inch Full HD anti-glare IPS panel with native resolution of 1920 by 1200. It is more than the traditional 1920 by 1080 as it has a bigger screen size and an aspect ratio of 16 by 10. It has 165Hz refresh rate, G-Sync support, and gray-to-gray response time of 3 milliseconds, which is really great for esport games. It has 100% sRGB color gamut, which is great for content creators. It has a good contrast ratio of 1200 by 1, which means the black will appear more black and the whites will appear more white. It has a brightness of 400 nits, which is only okay as it will still be harder to use outside in sunlight. It has a good viewing angle of 170 degrees and it does not have HDR support. Now let's talk about the other special features it has to offer. It has a mux switch with advanced Optimus. However, you need to go to BIOS to change it. So what's the use of advanced Optimus since one has to turn off the laptop to access the features anyways, you might be wondering. Well, most reviewers don't know that you can alternatively change the GPU mode in NVIDIA settings, and since it has advanced Optimus, one does not need to restart. It has a 90 watt-hour battery which lasts about 4 to 5 hours in normal usage with quiet mode and iGPU mode with mid-level brightness and 60Hz refresh rate and 1 to 1.5 hour of gaming. It comes with 330 watt charging brick. It has one of the best Wi-Fi cards, that is Killer Wi-Fi 6AX and Bluetooth version 5.1. It has a 720p camera with temporal noise reduction. It has liquid metal instead of traditional thermal paste, which helps a lot in maintaining the thermals. It has DTX Ultra for custom sound control. Now let's take a look at the port selection of this laptop. This laptop has 3 USB Type-A ports and 2 USB Type-C ports. Starting from the left, it has one RJ45 Ethernet port facing downwards, one USB Type-A 3.2 Gen 1 port, one microSD card reader which is great for content creators, and one audio mic combo jack. On the right side, it has two USB Type-A 3.2 Gen 2 ports. The one on the left supports always on USB, which can be used to charge other devices like phones or AirPods even when the laptop is powered down. The rest of the ports lie on the back side, which has one charging jack, one HDMI 2.1 port which is connected to the RTX 4050 which gives output of up to 8K and 120Hz. Next we have two USB Type-C Thunderbolt 4 ports which support data transfer, display up to 8K 60Hz each and are connected to RTX 4050 and can also be used to charge the laptop with a charger up to 65 watts. Now let's talk about the upgradability of this laptop. This laptop has two DDR5 RAM slots which support 16 GB RAM stick each, which means it has a maximum total of 32 GB RAM. It has two M.2 NVMe slots, out of which one is filled and the other one has a small form factor of 2260 according to me. So keep this in mind whenever you purchase SSD for this slot and don't buy the wrong one. And it has one M.2 slot for upgradable Wi-Fi and Bluetooth card. Not that it needs to, as it already has one of the best Wi-Fi cards till date. This laptop comes with Acer's Predator Sense software, which allows user to control the performance and aesthetics of this laptop. At home, it shows various stats for the laptop. It has 4 modes of performance which can also be cycled through the top button of the keyboard. It has overdrive mode to achieve that 3 millisecond response time on screen. It has the option to create custom profiles with settings as per need on the click. It has fan speed control feature which most gaming laptops don't have. It has various RGB effects to choose from which can only be cycled using this software. However, this software does not have any button for mux switch, which is really a shame for such a higher end laptop. Now let's take a look at the performance benchmarks of all three variants of this laptop. Starting from Cinnamon score, Geekbench scores, PC Mark 10 scores, 3D Mark Time Spy scores. Now if you look at the scores carefully, you will notice that 13 Gen CPU scores are way better than 12 Gen CPU. As rightly said, even the budget-friendly i5 13 Gen surpasses flagship i9 12 Gen scores. This just tells you how massively powerful the 13 Gen CPUs are. They are indeed ready for anything you throw at it. However, I am a bit concerned about the RTX 40 series GPUs, as for some reason they are locked at 100 watts and do not reach the advertised 140 watts, which means low performance than expected. It is speculated that this is because of voltage limits of RTX 40 series GPUs, but all in all, they are pretty good at handling tasks like gaming, streaming, coding, editing, creative workload, as they have really good screen and good colors, 3D modeling, machine learning and AI work. Now let's take a look at the gaming performance of all three variants of this laptop. I have collected data from some AAA titles for your reference, and all the games have been tested at recommended settings, DLSS set to balanced wherever there was an option, and ray tracing was turned off. First, let's take a look at the FPS data of all three laptops. As you can see, FPS are good on their own, but if you compare the results with 12th Gen CPU and 3060 GPU, the results could be a lot better than this. 4050 is comparable to 3060 and 4060 has more VRAM, more cores, and 13 Gen CPUs as seen in performance benchmarks surpass the 12 Gen CPUs by a lot. So gaming performance is a bit disappointing in my opinion, as one can get similar results by purchasing cheaper last year models with Intel's 12 Gen CPUs and RTX 30 series graphic cards. It is possible due to the novelty of 40 series GPU and its optimization with modern games. It is possible that this bug can be fixed in future with NVIDIA driver updates, which will allow them to perform up to full 140 watts. Now let's take a look at the CPU and GPU temps. As you can see, the temps of the CPU and GPU were quite well managed and did not thermal throttle at all. This shows just how great the thermal management of this series is. Now let's take a look at the competition for this laptop, that is laptops with similar specs. Lenovo Legion 5i Pro with i7-13700HX and RTX 3060 plus 16GB of DDR5 RAM. MSI Cyborg with i7-12650H with RTX 4050 and 16GB of DDR5 RAM. Asus TUF A15 with Ryzen 7 7735HS RTX 4050 16GB of DDR5 RAM. Asus TUF F15 with i7 13 Gen RTX 4050 and 16GB of DDR5 RAM. Asus TUF A15 with Ryzen 9 7940HS and RTX 4050 with 16GB of DDR5 RAM. Asus ROG Strix G16 with i5-12450HX RTX 4050 and 16GB of DDR5 RAM with a hefty price tag for an i5. Asus A15 with Ryzen 9 7940HS and RTX 4060 with 16GB of DDR5 RAM. Dell G15 with i7-13650H and RTX 4050 with 16GB of DDR5 RAM. In conclusion, I would like to say that this is a great laptop with good looks and latest hardware for future-proofing considerations. However, the current issue with the 40 series GPUs is a major concern, as the level of performance given by this laptop is similar to last gen models, which are cheaper. I would suggest either wait for the issue to be fixed or buy the last gen models to save a few bucks. I am really thankful to Creative Laptop Store in Ludhiana, Kocha Market area, who had faith in me and provided me the opportunity to work with this laptop. Creative Store has laptops of all brands and variants available for purchase and a very cooperative staff to understand your needs and help you purchase the laptop accordingly. They have really competitive price even if you compare it with online channels. Consider buying your next laptop from Creative Store.